And welcome back to Wake Up Radio with Ryan, Ray, and Fuzz. In the studio today is Ciera Payton, beautiful Ciera Payton, actress extraordinaire. We just saw some of your work in a clip. And Ciera, I wanted to talk a little bit more about how you got started acting and really some of the reasons, some of the things that sort of launched you into this career.
Okay. When I was in first grade, one of my first plays was, I don't even know the title of it, but I know I played a giraffe. And I know it's because I was the tallest in the class.
You are a tall drink of water,
I am a very
I
tall
have to tell
girl.
you.
5'8.5". I will not say I'm 5'9".
And 7 foot in heels.
And she's wearing some stiletto heels this morning.
Okay.
I can't help it. I love them. And I absolutely hated the play. I hated the feeling being on stage. I hated being a giraffe. I hated it. And I remember my mom picking me up and, just really just loving the play. and I was just like, I hate it. I never want to do this again.
Why? Why did you hate it?
Because I think at such a young age, I felt very vulnerable in front of people. I was always insecure about being the tallest in class, and now that I was singled out as a giraffe, I think
reinforced
it just really,
that. Yeah.
And I felt mortified. I had to like throw leaves or something. It was a really weird first grade play, and so from there, I ended up living with my father. Sometime between 8 and 9 years old, and there was a lot going on in that household as I was growing up. And as a child, I just really wanted to find a way to express myself through all of that. My father was a drug addict, and my aunts that I lived with also battled both with drugs and alcoholism. And I grew up in that environment as an only child. I do have an older brother, but he lived in Mississippi at the time. And it was one of those things where I felt alone, but I needed some way to just, just
Express
have a voice.
yourself.
Yeah. So I used to go to these AA meetings with my father, and he... they sit in a big circle with people, and these people would tell their stories, and I would just sit to the side and just watch and listen. And every time I'd go to those meetings, I'd go home later that night, and I'd go lock myself in a closet and reenact these meetings with my stuffed animals. And which is like really weird, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm an alcoholic. It was just like, how are you doing today? Like just like a little world to myself.
That was a healing process.
It was definitely a healing process. Yeah, and it just made me, I was always very, very quiet as a kid and very, very shy. And when I started doing these type of things, like, I wanted to, go to school and play the clarinet or learn how to draw and let people see my work. And then my Nana, she bought me a karaoke machine, and I sang on that thing all the time and, acted out plays, that I created all the time. So, that's what led me into art, into wanting to
perform.
Well,
if I may, an interesting thing about that though is I kind of like that's part of your story, because when you would go home and lock yourself in the closet and reenact these AA moments, which again doesn't seem very glamorous or doesn't even seem like something that a small child should do, but it reminds us that everyone has a story. Everyone has a story, and probably what you maybe at the time was getting from this is that a lot of these people, that's why a lot of people get started on alcohol and drugs, is they're not able to express, they're not able to release that type of stuff, and so they go for this substance that allows them to become uninhibited and allows them to say things they wouldn't normally say or think that they can't say and do. So I hate that as a child you had to go through that, but I think it made you who you are.
Exactly. And the thing is that there were times where like I fought, like, wanting to be an actor or wanting to perform or whatever, but for me it was a survival mode. It was something that was a necessity. So
And how great that you had the support of your Nana or your grandmother, I don't remember which one it is, actually there purchasing the karaoke machine, asking you to reenact the plays and all that for her. I mean, we all could really use.
Well, that's, we don't want to get in. We don't want to get started on my grandma because she's my universe.
We'll have tears. Right
exactly.
here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Grandmas are wonderful.
They're great.
They're
great.
Well, we are going to talk a little bit more, Ciera. I want to hear about your Hurricane Katrina experience because I think that's something that touches a lot of people, and we've got a lot more to talk about when we'll be back just here in a moment here and Wake Up Radio with Ryan Rain Fuzz. Don't go away.